It rightfully Saturday morning. So you're gonna be a chew toy for 800-pound drum bear. My God.
All right, why don't we get started? It's about 5 after. I was just waiting for a few more people to come onto the webinar. So we've got about 15 people listening in via the webinar. So we're going to try and add that option, go to webinar for the remaining meetings, just to give people out in other locations within the county a chance to tune in. My name is Jesse Reinhardt. I work in the GIS Business Services team within the GIS office. We're a part of IT within enterprise development. Jay Meals here, he's going to be doing a presentation on ArcGIS Pro, and Warren Fong is going to give us kind of an overview of the Esri UC conference, which happens every July. We try and do this meeting 2 to 3 times a year. And really the purpose is to give users a chance to see kind of what's new, learn about what we're working on, and we like to get staff from, from other departments and people that are using GIS to do presentations as well. I think last time we had a presentation from Community Works on some work they're doing on landslides. So if you have any ideas for a presentation, please let us know, and we'll get you in on the next meeting. I think what we may do is do something in late November or early December for our next meeting time, kind of a winter meeting. Let's see. If you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt any of us at any time. Same with those on the webinar. Pretty casual. So what Ed mentioned earlier, Warren's going to talk a little bit about the Esri conference and just some of the highlights. That's a yearly conference that happens in July. It's probably the biggest GIS conference maybe in the world. I think there's over 10,000 attendees. It's in San Diego. We typically have 9 to 10 complimentary registrations for that conference. So if you're interested in attending that conference, you can always send me an email and I can get you some more information about the registration and just what it typically costs or what we budget for that. We usually send 3 to 4 staff people to that conference every year, and I think there's a few throughout the county that also attend. It's pretty widely attended by GIS professionals from Minnesota as well. Jay's going to do kind of the introductory look at ArcGIS Pro and talk a little bit about what our rollout plan is for ArcGIS Pro. He's got a training coming up later this month, introductory training, and our plan is to continue to do or add ArcGIS Pro training to our quarterly sessions. So we try and do a training session each quarter. Might be on ArcGIS Desktop, ArcGIS Online, analysis, a variety of different topics. And then we supplement that kind of custom training with Esri's kind of suite of training materials that they have online. So if you have questions about what's available to staff through Esri, you can talk to Jay. He can get you set up with those. And they range from, an hour-long webinar, to, like 2-hour, 3-hour hands-on sessions where you can actually really get in and use the software. But I'm going to kick it off with just some news and announcements, talk to you a little bit about some new data and resources that we have available, and some upcoming events. So just a couple weeks away, here's the Minnesota GIS LIS conference. That's an annual conference that the Minnesota GIS LIS Consortium puts on. They do workshops the first day, so it's a Wednesday through Friday. They rotate locations throughout the state. So this year it's going to be in Bemidji. I think the 2 previous years it was up in Duluth. It's a pretty good conference. A lot of good attendance from Minnesota GIS professionals, city, all variety of different agencies, and consulting. If you have questions about that, you can always reach out to us too. We usually, I think this year we've got 2 GIS staff people going, and it ranges from 2 to 5, depending kind of on the location and what the program looks like. If you're not familiar with Youth Spatial, they are out of the University of Minnesota, and they do a variety of trainings as well. It's a fee-based training. We have talked to them about trying to do some kind of reciprocity, I guess, with the county to allow for staff to take training there for free. They do ArcGIS Online, ArcGIS Pro, desktop software trainings, and they're pretty good. We've had a few people take them and had a good review. I'll kind of post this PowerPoint out after the meeting, and we have links to all these sites so you can go check out what's available. And then I mentioned Jay's got an Introduction to ArcGIS Pro training. I think it's actually in this room on September 26th. And is it full?
Yes.
Okay, it's full, so we will maybe we'll add another session. Let's see. How many did we have on the waiting list, do you know?
3.
Okay.
4.
4? A few updates on software, data, resources. So I know a lot of you are getting your Windows 10 machines or will be getting those soon. All the same desktop GIS software will be available to you when you get your machine. Now, we have been running into some issues with, at least in Public Works, where staff are getting their new machines, but GIS software has not been added to their profile in every case. So when you actually go into the software center, you don't see, when you search on GIS, you don't see all the software. So there is a workaround where you can request the install through another form. So we'll send that out. We have been working with Paul's team to kind of correct that, and I think it should be fine for all the remaining groups that get their new Windows 10 boxes. But you should be seeing ArcGIS Desktop 10.4.1, and we're recommending that people update their software to that version, 10.4.1. ArcGIS Pro, Maps for Office, and then Pictometry, which is basically an add-on to ArcGIS. So if you're not seeing all those in your software center, you can contact us and we'll help you get that figured out, or work with your department level IT to make sure that those get added to your group's profile. It's sort of a department by department process, so we don't control really what shows up in the individual group profiles, but we can help you kind of work through that.
What was that for?
Maps for Office. I just abbreviated it so I fit it in. We've been doing a lot of work lately with cities, municipalities, watershed districts, variety of public agencies and consultants on developing better processes for data sharing. So I'm sure a lot of you work on projects with consultants where you need to either get data from them, provide data to them. We have a lot of kind of regional data standard projects that we're working on where we need to make requests to cities for data. So we've been actively contacting GIS staff and other kind of subject matter experts at municipalities and cities with data requests. And Alex, who I think is tuning in online, he and I have been out meeting with individual cities just to talk to them about what kinds of data needs they have from the county and what interests that we have for data. So what's come out of that is we've set up an FTP site that has basically a space for sharing with all the municipalities. I think we added about 12 consultants, watershed districts, the state of Minnesota, so that we can kind of facilitate data sharing amongst one another. So it's essentially they're given a login and password to a secure FTP location that's set up just for their municipality. We've also been looking at data sharing over ArcGIS Online as an option. Not all the cities that we work with have organizational accounts, so it makes it difficult for us to share data with them through ArcGIS Online. We can push data out kind of as we're doing through open data, but it doesn't always work for kind of the read-write with those cities. Yeah.
That FTP said, is this something available to us to share data back and forth with cities?
Yeah, actually, if you're working on a project with a consultant, we can work with you to put data out on that FTP and make it available to the consultant that way. That way, you can kind of have a single location if you want to share and receive data. We also have been creating a geodatabase each month that has a lot of the data that the municipalities have asked for, but we don't have on open data that we're just sharing with municipalities. So we've been adding to that. It's basically a geodatabase full of county data that we're putting out on the FTP and making available to those cities. We've also reached out to Logis about having a better data connection with them. They work, I think, with 8 or 9 cities in the county and have applications that they build for those individual cities. I guess the other piece of that is HCGUG. I don't know if you know Hennepin County GIS User Group. It's a countywide user group. Consultants, cities attend, watershed districts. I think Met Council shows up. Variety of different GIS users from across the county. This last year, we took on the role of facilitating and coordinating that meeting. So if you're not on that invite list, you can send me an email or any one of us at the GIS office and just let us know that you want to be added to that. We're doing it on a quarterly basis, and we usually have a pretty good turnout. We actually had a meeting earlier this week. There's probably about 40 people there from a variety of different cities and consulting groups. So we'd be interested in if you wanted to present at that meeting or had any ideas about data that you were interested in getting from some of the cities, we can help with facilitating that. We recently updated our rare features user license agreement with the Minnesota DNR. It's a fairly stringent user agreement. I just wanted to mention it in case anyone is working on any kind of environmental review. We have about a handful of users that have access to it, Dave included. But I just wanted to make sure everybody kind of knows about that it's out there. It's basically rare endangered species, am I right?
Threatened and endangered is occurrence area, so they don't want to pinpoint it for just the general public to go out and harvest it.
Right.
But it's like an 80-page.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Yeah, there's a training that goes along with access to the data that you have to complete, and as Dave was just mentioning, it's 80 PowerPoint slides that you have to go through. It basically takes you through the entire user agreement. So if you have questions about that data set, just let me know. But like I said, the user agreement's pretty stringent, so really it's more of a viewing data set. You can't really put it into maps that have any public distribution.
It's used if people are doing environmental assessments and that type of thing. That's one of the things you got to check for and report on these EAWs and so forth. The DNR is usually doing that, but if you have your own project, they require it for a lot of their projects too, so you got to review that data. At least let them know that just within a mile or
Sure.
something of your site.
Well, if you know of anybody else in your group that needs access to it or across Public Works, just let me know. We have it in our data warehouse, but it's permissioned. So we add users to a group that has read permissions to that data, and that's the only set of people that can see it at the county. We have a Dunn and Bradstreet data set that we purchased. It's called Hoover's Business Locations. Some of you have probably seen it in the warehouse. I just wanted to let you know that we've updated the subscription to that data, and we'll have it through the middle of next year. So if you have a need to look at business locations, contact us, because we might be able to, it's can get pretty granular. I mean, I think we've even got in-home businesses within that data set and a bunch of attributes. There's some caveats to the data in terms of accuracy and how often it's updated, but for kind of a baseline data set, we feel that it's pretty good. And we've compared it against Google, and I think Google's data is updated more frequently, but we don't always know kind of how that's being managed. We're going to be doing an update or an aerial imagery capture in spring of 2018. Brad Roman's been working on the RFP. That closed a few weeks ago, so we have proposals in that are being reviewed, and we'll probably be making a decision here by the end of the year, hopefully to have a vendor under contract for the 2018 flight. Currently what we have in the warehouse is 2015, so we anticipate that we'll have that available October 2018, somewhere around there. I just wanted to mention one other thing here real quick. Under we are continuously updating our HC Connect site, so I'd encourage you to go there if you need news or updates or want to get access to data, maps, kind of whatever GIS related. We have a project request form, so if you need help with a project, I encourage you to just submit a form. That form then gets routed to the coordinator for whatever line of business you're in. So there's the form has a question about what business unit you work for. That request then gets routed to a coordinator, and they usually contact you within 1 to 2 business days about the project or request. If it's a rush request, I would suggest just calling our main line. When you call this main line, it rings on all the phones in our GIS staff phones, and then we can kind of help you with whatever it might be. I also wanted to mention this FAQ. We get a lot of different kind of standard questions from users about how to get access to data, who do you contact for support, how do you submit a project request, what software is available, how do I access map templates and layer files, just a variety of different things. So you can always kind of check this out if you have a question and you don't feel like calling our office. All right, let's see, a couple more things and I'll turn it over to Warren.
And back up on that one.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to go in and maybe he's going to go over it, but Jay's going to maybe talk about this, but we're supposed to download our Pro now from the Software Center?
We're recommending that you do that if you're going to take the training. Yeah, I mean, those that are taking the training, you do. Yeah, it's part of the Software Center. It's an installation machine.
Does it change like I'm using our GIS right now, right? So
I think Jay's going to get into that. Yeah.
More of a statement than it is a question. With project, I want to kind of caution, I don't know how the other business line IT runs, but what we do is we have a one-stop shop for project submission. So I take all projects, they'll come into our site, and then we parse them back out to the appropriate, because it can be anything from filing that project to a GIS related project. So I just caution that the business line, there may be a sub-business line that's going to go direct. You want your IT, you want your line of business IT at least knowledgeable about it. I don't know what the relationships are there, but we we turn what we'll do is we'll represent it and we'll work, we'll do the GIS steering committee. The project will go through, get ranked and get addressed. We at least have a radar on it. It doesn't mean we don't run the project. We understand that it's a GIS office project that was submitted. We're not trying to get in the way of it, but if we've got to have knowledge of it, because sometimes you're looking for data that's coming out of systems, and I've got to be able to have my staff produce that data and give access there too. So just having a collaborative effort there. So I just always caution, maybe one of the questions on the project request is, does your line of business IT know that this is in fact in place? So we try to be one-stop shop, but we all work so closely with you guys that it automatically, if it's a GIS project, it goes into the GIS pretty much column, and then it'll get represented and forwarded accordingly, and then go through steering. So
sure. Yeah, and we've been working, I think, pretty well with your team really on getting the big ones over, and then kind of parsing out which ones are, like a simple map request or whatever it might be. So we're trying to do that more with other lines of business IT as well, just sort of kind of have them in the loop on what we're up to and what kind of requests we're getting. Let's see. I just want to touch on a couple more things here real quick. If you haven't noticed, we recently released a new base map. And this base map is showing up in all of our custom web applications. The first thing you'll probably notice is that it's no longer kind of that floating Hennepin County head where you didn't have any other features outside of the county. So that's been a big change, adding in surrounding county information. You also notice too that we've updated the fonts, just the kind of general design, make it more modern, a little bit more responsive. Added in more representative road shields. We're using our newer Hennepin County centerline data. As you zoom in, more features become apparent, especially in the downtown area. We've added building footprints for downtown, light rail, LRT stations, and alignments. Skyway is all present there. And then our county facilities are color-coded and labeled accordingly as well. So this is the new base map that will appear in all of our custom applications moving forward. It's already been added to all of our existing applications. You'll notice too there's a hillshade underneath, so we're basically draping the layers with a transparency over a hillshade, so it kind of gives you that little bit of depth on the topography. And we've done the same thing with the hybrid, just kind of updated that, different labeling and such. So just wanted to make you aware. If you have any suggestions for improvements, we do rerun this base map cache monthly, so we can make improvements to it as we move forward. We have a new Maps and Apps portal. This is a public-facing site, and essentially what we're wanting this to do is kind of replace our existing GIS page, our home page. So it's really designed to be very user-friendly. So we've got a data card here, and it brings up kind of our most popular open data sets, and then a link out to our new open data site. There's other resources here, so if you're looking for data from other agencies, there's links here, so it's a pretty good list of other open data that's out there. Then we also have a place for you to explore our public-facing mapping applications, so property map, natural resources map, transportation map. You can all link to it from this one portal. You can also kind of look at these by category. So if you're looking for something in people in society, we've got data there, transportation-related maps, environmental, All just a way for the public to be able to get access to these applications or data or information in one place. We've also been posting our quarterly newsletters here, and we've got a Twitter account as well. You can subscribe to our Gov Delivery mailing through this site. And then we're also, we'll probably be adding all of our HC Gov materials here as well. It just makes sense from a kind of coordination standpoint. We also have contact information. So we've added in, we get a lot of questions in our office about property information, who kind of handles property boundary questions, FEMA floodplain and map amendments, the contacts there. So just trying to give the public more resources in one place. So that's out there. If you go to Hennepin.us/GIS, it'll still bring you to our page. And then we've got a link to it right here. Visit the Maps and Apps portal. One more thing. Fartoon, who's here right now, has been working pretty hard on creating a brand new set of map templates that is based on the new branding standard. So she's actually gone in and created a variety of different sizes and layouts for each line of business, and we have those available through a data warehouse directory, and I'll send a link out to that. But what's really nice about these is they are already using the new Hennepin County branding standard. So we've got kind of that look and feel that you'll see kind of coming out from other communications products. And what's great about these is they have data kind of preloaded. So we've taken this base data, symbolized it in a way that is subtle but still recognizable using a lot of the same features and symbology that we have in our online-based map, and adding that to these templates so they're preloaded. So really a user can go out, save that template off, bring in data, kind of customize the map how they want, and just sort of fill in some of this existing information. So the idea is it tries to save time on for users when they're building a map. So we've got a variety of different sizes. This is 24 by 36, including kind of all the mapping elements that you would expect. We've got a 30 by 30, which is kind of a standard one out in Medina. And then she's also developed the same for bar maps. So these are used for board action request presentations up in the boardroom. So we actually went up and kind of tested these out to see how they look on the screen. So you'll see it's a little bit more exaggerated, a little larger font, not quite as much going on with the template. So just wanted to mention these are available for users. It's a great resource. We're really happy with how they turned out. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Warren for an overview of the 2017 user conference.
All right, thanks, Jesse. So my name is Warren Fogg, and I'm the GIS coordinator for Hennepin County Public Safety. So like all you guys, I use GIS every day, and the presentation I have today is just a little bit on the science of where, which is the theme at this year's Esri Users Conference. Kind of bridges the gap between what Jesse was talking about some of the resources that are available for you to do your job, and what Jay's going to talk about, which is a little bit more about how you can actually leverage that with new technology. So this is just a little bit about how we should all be innovators and leverage the science of where, which is really a science that takes any other science, and you can use it to do location-based intelligence, and GIS is the platform to do that. So whether you're a doctor, a biologist, you can leverage this information. And then talk a little bit about the road ahead. So we all know change is never easy. I don't like change, but we know we need to challenge ourselves and be prepared for innovation. So to take and leverage this new technology, we'll have to kind of take ourselves out of our comfort zone and learn some new things. And that's how technology works. So, and then the other part is a little bit on resources. So there's other GIS resources available. Jesse mentioned quite a few, and then there's some on the Esri website also that you can leverage. So the challenge is for everyone to take a couple minutes out of their week or out of their day. Plenty of videos and PowerPoint presentations out there that people can take advantage of. So the science of where, this is the vision to pioneer a common visual language that combines mapping, analytics to connect real-time data to users. So the idea is a super powerful force for solving problems and understanding so we can make a difference in the world. So the concept's probably still new to the general public a little bit, I think, but everyone runs around with a smartphone, and whether they know it or not, that thing's got location-based intelligence in it. It's telling people where they are. And we also know that location-based intelligence is definitely taking hold in the tech industry. As we know, we all use the apps that they develop on our phones, so definitely it's mainstream now. So the science of where, it's all about finding your own path, charting your own course, so you can apply real positive change through geography. So the idea is that mapping and spatial analytics can help solve problems in real time by improving your operational and business and get business results from that. So the idea is that we're all explorers, pioneers, innovators, cartographers when we're using GIS. So the challenge is to continue to learn more as the world expands and changes, so we can improve our business results. So there's a digital transformation that is leading business, government, and society into this new technological frontier. So again, it's location intelligence, which helps us visualize, interpret, analyze, understand, and exploit all types of data. So it doesn't matter if we're the desktop user entering information at our desktop, out in the field collecting information, analyzing the information on the fly in the field, at a PC, analyzing that data, leveraging all the technology through the apps and desktop software, or making decisions with your coworkers or leadership based on that type of data. So when we all work with GIS, and each one of us is really leading the digital revolution. So I think that's why everyone's here. Use GIS, and the challenge is to keep using it and learn new things. So these are a few screenshots from the Esri conference. It was the keynote from Jack Dangermond, who was the president of ESRI. So I didn't create these, they were created. So they're just screen captures from his presentation. So it's a little death by PowerPoint, but they're pretty cool slides. So we'll just go through a few of them. So this idea of applying the science of where, it's all about our world. We're all part of this world, and we know it's increasingly being challenged. So whether it's natural disasters, there's 3 major ones going on now. There's flooding in Houston, major hurricane headed our way, wildfires in Montana. Population is increasing, water can be contaminated. So we all need a better understanding of this and to collaborate. And the ultimate reason to do that is obviously action. So again, our world is increasingly challenged, and this requires some type of action on our part that we can do through our job. So we also know that our world is undergoing a massive digital transformation. So unlike any time in the past, there's more information available to everyone on larger scale, faster, better. And the idea is that this digital transformation is preparing us for action. So we're digitally modeling the entire world. So pretty much all business data is location-based now, and you can just imagine that all draped over the world. Everything's at your fingertips. So it's pretty great stuff. So applying the science of where, GIS provides the platform for managing, analyzing, and applying geographic information. So, you're really integrating people, processes, things, and data about them. So using this power of where to integrate everything. So you're talking about system of record, system of insight, system of engagement. So GIS provides a platform for integrating everything that's available. So science of where, this is the framework and process. So measuring, we have data management and integration, visualization and mapping for understanding, analysis and modeling for predicting, planning and design for collaboration, decision-making for informing, and action. So really it's all about GIS is transforming how we think and act and creating a sustainable future. So the other big thing that's happening with science of where is that we all know GIS is advancing rapidly. So we're talking about integrating and leveraging many different innovations out there. So at the data level, it can be LiDAR, drones, real-time data, surveys, weather, all that information. And then we have the computing infrastructure now to get that information out to people faster networks. There's cloud computing, web services, and everything's increasingly being available on a mobile device. So where we all come in here as GIS technical users is this innovation area. So it's all about using our online content, leveraging things through portal, real time, using Python to automate scripts. And really it's about the modern desktop too. So there'll be some talk here about ArcGIS Map, which is kind of the legacy USRI product, and ArcGIS Pro. And you'll see pretty much all the innovators out there in the GIS world have moved to Pro. So ArcMap's not going away, but we need to start learning about what this new product can do for us. And ultimately all that is about getting that information up to the web, using apps and getting that distributed and sharing it across the web. So WebGIS is the modern GIS architecture, so it's helping everyone do their work better. So we're leveraging web services as individuals, as groups on your team, within your division, between departments, across organizations. So we know sharing knowledge and collaboration improves productivity and efficiency. So this growth is continuing to increase, and it'll probably increase more and more as time goes on. So definitely something to watch out for. Again, WebGIS simplifies working with all types of data. So we're using web maps, scenes, and layers. So you're taking imagery, tabular data, vector 3D, real-time, big data, LiDAR, and all that's utilized through a common language now. So it's available to any type of app, desktop out there, and it's all distributed. So a little more about the science of where. We're talking about integrating real-time information. So we're leveraging dynamic data about everything. So whether it's in the built environment, natural environment, or sensors out there, it's no longer just good enough to get information weekly, quarterly, yearly. We're talking about real-time information. Stuff is starting to actually come out. So we have weather sensors out there, real-time traffic data. This information is rapidly advancing, so it's something to watch out for. Definitely integrating with real-time information. So the other concept that they put forward was WebGIS is revolutionizing how we plan and design. So it's integrating all the different sciences that you all work with into the design process. So you're basically leveraging economic development, urban design, transportation, city planning, infrastructure, and doing analysis with that, designing, evaluating, visualizing, and disseminating that information. So the idea is that this geodesign process is revolutionizing how we can rapidly create and evaluate scenarios. So once that all information is digital and you do something and do some analysis and create something from it, we can quickly rerun that scenario and evaluate different scenarios. So definitely a revolution about how accessible information is, especially in the GIS world. So WebGIS is making spatial analysis more accessible. Advanced data analytics and geo-enabling data science. And then again, the theme of WebGIS is connecting everyone, so using web apps, sharing and collaborating, different people, organizations, and communities, tying it all together. So it's really creating a system of engagement out there. So GIS enables community engagement. This is another area that seems to getting more and more prevalent out there. So we're talking about organizations and managing community interactions. So providing citizen information and leader input for policy initiative-based decisions. So everything from citizen communication, citizen surveys, status reporting, open data, storytelling, demographic information. GIS provides the framework for all this community engagement. So WebGIS enables that whole new scale of GIS, interconnecting systems and expanding collaboration. So it's individuals, teams, departments, organizations. And it's not just our organizations, it's other organizations with the same structure. So GIS is really a system of systems, and it's basically on a whole new scale, expanding every day. So the final slide here is GIS provides the means. So the idea is it provides the means to do your work better, for you to apply the science of where everywhere. So it's a general idea from this concept and theme of the science of where. So the next part of this is just a couple examples from the conference on leading innovators in the industry. So number one was Oakland County, Michigan. They're making government services more cost effective, innovating branches throughout their organization. So the idea is that each one of you is like a branch of the tree, and we're all innovators and working throughout the organization. So you could be the tax or assessor person working on a web map, or some water resource manager working with ArcGIS Pro. I think the key theme here is that all these innovative groups are leveraging ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Pro. So another one they highlighted was the Chesapeake Conservancy. They have conservation efforts in the United States in the largest estuary. So again, the idea is that they're leveraging ArcGIS Pro to do analysis of imagery, sensor data, to protect the environment. And I think the key thing here again is that they're leveraging ArcGIS Pro, and they're one of the leaders out there doing this. Another one that they highlighted was the severe trauma air rescue. So we're talking about real-time GIS support when every second counts. So GIS is no longer just nice to have, it's mission critical. We know that with say 911, where it was nice to have the map after the phone call, but with a next generation system, it's putting GIS on the front end of that. So GIS powers real-time decision support systems. And as you can see again, this innovative group is using ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Online. So again, recurring theme there. And then they highlighted Smart Dubai, which is empowering a smart city of the future. They're building the city of the future with citizen engagement and smart growth. Again, you can see here they're leveraging Dashboard, ArcGIS Online, and ArcGIS Pro. Again, reoccurring theme. So where's the road ahead? Expanding the power of GIS. GIS, again, is rapidly advancing. And the idea is that we need to keep learning new skills and to continue to innovate. And again, this is leading up to Jay's presentation on ArcGIS Pro, but ArcGIS Map is definitely the legacy of ArcGIS and Esri's platform, and ArcGIS Pro is the future. Again, ArcGIS ArcMap is not going away, but all the new innovation is happening in ArcGIS Pro. So all the new innovations happening in ArcGIS Pro. They're going to keep the lights on for ArcMap, but all the new technology, ArcGIS Pro. So it is the future. A few other topics from the conference this year: ArcGIS content, the Living Atlas, ArcGIS Desktop. There's new data models out there. So if you're capturing information, geodatabase models out there for you to use. Enterprise GIS, there's simplified administration. For scripting automation, there's an API for Python. Again, ArcGIS Online, growing community. We have ArcGIS Hub for collaborating with community and policy, which is a new product. It costs money we don't have right now, but something we can explore. Again, the ArcGIS platform with ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Online. And then ArcGIS Professionals, so growth and development. So Jay's been doing some work for us on the training programs to get everyone kind of ramp them up and get them up to speed. And then some other resources that are out there, probably number one is this ArcGIS book. It's a free download from Esri. So basically it's like the 10 big ideas about applying the science of where. In your free time, you can go download it. I would do it. It's designed for beginner, intermediate, and experts. So it's easy to read, lots of pictures, diagrams, walks you through things. So I would say the number one thing you do when you leave this session today is go download this book, take a look, spend 5 minutes a day. Definitely worth your time. And other resources that are available, again, training videos at esri.com/videos. Take 5 minutes out of your week, download a video, learn something new. You can also go to YouTube, go to the Esri, query the Esri channel. Same videos are available there. Great workshop presentations available. Whole thing is available from the Esri user conference. Again, 5 minutes out of your week, learn something new. And then there's another page, which is the Q&A, which is the answers to common questions. So if you run across some weird thing that you're trying to figure out where Esri is headed, you can go to this page and someone else has already asked the same question. You're not the first one. So that is all I have. So I'm going to hand it over to Jay, and he's going to talk a little bit about ArcGIS Pro. And thanks for your time.
Thanks, Warren. I was going to ask you if questions come through here, will I be able to see them or will they pop up at all? Or either that or they could just IM you as well.
Yeah, that would be fine. I've got my IM.
Okay. Okay, great. Wow, thanks. Well, ArcGIS Pro. Just going to give you a little bit of an overview about it. And I know some of you are going to have questions, and I'll try to do the best I can at answering them because I'm still learning this technology as well. But it's the wave of the future, and it's a new look. And as you can see, based on this diagram, it's quite different than ArcGIS Map. We have the new ribbons and tabs. We have new table of contents that looks a little bit different, and new what we call panes. So we don't refer to them as table of contents or anything like that. They're floating panes that might show a map view or a layout view or project contents. So quite a different structure. I'll be demoing that in just a minute. What are the benefits of ArcGIS Pro? And this is kind of an important thing. The main thing is that this is where ESRI is moving towards. Jack said that they're going to be phasing out slowly ArcMap, and this is where they're putting all their time and effort. It also is totally integrated within ArcGIS Online, so from the software I can go out and I can grab various layers from ArcGIS Online. It's ribbon-based interface, what they consider to be a much better and more user-friendly interface so that you only see things you need to see when you're doing certain things. That's called contextual tabs, and I'll be showing that in just a second. They also have kind of taken a lot of their tools and made them graphically easier to follow so that you can kind of step through and see what you need to do to perform analysis. It's a 64-bit operating system. It can handle 3D visualization. And it has some improvements in the cartographic area as well. And one of the things I like the most is when dealing with ArcMap, how many of you have inadvertently clicked on one of the cartographic elements and moved it across or something like that while you're dealing with a layout? And that's always something that's bothered me, that all of a sudden I can move a frame or I can move some text. And now you can lock those elements down. Also, they've improved the graphics a little bit and have some additional functionality that's kind of nice. Oops. So again, this is from Jack Dangermond, and he did say, you know, will ArcGIS Pro be replacing ArcMap? And he made this statement. Now, with that being said, I don't want some people to all of a sudden start worrying that they're going to have to start learning it within the next couple of weeks. This kind of change is going to be over years. So just like with some of their other products, they slowly fade these products out into obscurity, so to speak. And that's what ArcGIS Map and Catalog is going to go through. So we're going to see that they're still going to be coming out with new versions in the next couple of years, but that all the development is going to be put into ArcGIS Pro. All the new tools, the bug fixes, and various things that are going to be pushed out of that software versus ArcMap. So this is kind of the future, but it's not the future right now. It's a future as it progresses in a couple of years. So it's up to you as to whether you want to start learning it now, whether you want to wait a while, do them side by side. That's up to you and your comfort level. So what are we doing at Hennepin County? Well, we have 1.3.1 available from the Software Center, as Jesse had said. There is a version 2 out that has fixed a lot of bugs. It's a little quicker. It has some nice enhancements. I've looked at it and downloaded it at home. So we're going to have those available. We're going to be organizing an HC Connect resource page. We already have kind of a page dedicated to that, showing professional growth tracks and what you can see, such as videos and online training. We're going to continue with that. We're going to hold internal training as well. We have a class coming up on the 26th, and hopefully we'll have one each quarter. And as a staff, we're going to be there to assist you in the transitioning. So whether it be you need some assistance with some programs, with some models, or moving projects over, we'll be here to assist with that as well. We kind of came up with a very general plan of how we want to roll this out in the next year, year and a half. And it's kind of includes a lot of the things we've already touched on. So training, we're going to expand that so that not only do we have an introduction, but we'll have intermediate and advanced courses as well. We're going to make sure that we include ArcGIS Pro in our communication plan so that we let you know when there's new versions and new training opportunities. And just keep up on this and come up with our own kind of like knowledge base so that we can assist you as you make the transition as well. So this is what we're hoping to achieve in the next year, year and a half. So again, just a couple more things before I go into the demo. We do have professional growth tracks available, and we will be updating those soon. They're a combination of videos, classes, PDFs. We have the intro course coming up, and then I did send out a help sheet for today's seminar that had a bunch of hyperlinks that'll help you with the transition. Hyperlinks to terminology, to tool comparisons, and also some of the videos that are available. Now, before I go into the demo, a little bit of a disclaimer in that as I work more with the software, I see there are certain aspects that have not been transferred from ArcMap, some things that I've come across, and I wanted to touch on just a couple of them. One of the things I want to suggest is that right now ArcGIS Pro is a great tool, but it might not be the best tool for the project you're working on. Just keep that in mind. It does not have all the tools that ArcMap has. It's getting there. But one of the examples is there's no way to create a layer from selected features. This is something I use quite a bit. And for some reason, they haven't brought it over. However, there is a Python program that'll do the same thing. Your license can be used for either ArcGIS Pro or ArcMap. Pro has Python toolboxes and model builder, just like ArcMap. Arc objects are not supported, however, in ArcGIS Pro. Oops. Some of the other things. You can bring over MXDs. They are importable into a ArcGIS Pro project. However, there are occasionally things that do not come over, such as the neat line. You can go MXD to Pro, but it is not backward compatible. So you cannot create something in ArcGIS Pro, but then take a look at it in ArcMap. Another thing that I use quite a bit is I like to highlight Excel tables, copy and paste them into a map or graphics or some of the other things. That is not allowed in ArcGIS Pro. You cannot embed a table as well. So there are a few things that Pro isn't doing right now. However, ESRI is constantly updating Pro and trying to accommodate the wishes of the users. Oops. All right, let me go into the demonstration then. So this is what ArcGIS Pro looks like. And as you can see, it has this large ribbon at the top with two types of tabs. One tab is called Core, and they're always there. And the second tab is called Contextual, and they only appear if you need them. So for example, if you'll notice, when I click up there, a couple tabs go away. When I click on a feature, I get the Appearance tab, Labeling tab, and access to data. This is now called a map layout, and this is a contents pane. This is a project pane. ArcGIS Pro doesn't use MXDs or types of files, but they use projects. Projects are directories that store maps, toolboxes, connections to databases, style sheets, and folders. If I use an Insert tab, I see I can add a new map. I can have multiple maps. I can have multiple layouts. I can import a map from an MXD or from a map package. I can add or import a toolbox. Adding data. Oops. Let me pull this over. When I add data, I have different options for that. One of my options is I can go out to ArcGIS Online and do searches on all the various portals or the Living Atlas. Or I can search within groups or my own ArcGIS Online content, as well as directories. There are various options when you add data. Obviously, it takes geodatabases, shapefiles. It does not take personal access-based geodatabases. It also can bring in tables as well for geocoding or XY events. I have various base maps that I can choose, or just use no base map at all, as you can see here. I have it available if I want it. Some of the things that look a little bit different, editing, for example. Now with editing, it's just always on. you don't have to say, I'm going to edit this feature class. You basically click on the Edit tab, and you can start editing. There are ways to turn off some features in case you don't want to edit them. And if I wanted to create a new feature, this is kind of nice because I can pick one of the various signal connections, so maybe conduit only. I could actually add attributes right now and populate them prior to drawing, or I could just draw the line. It has snapping functionality, very similar to ArcMap. There's a lot you can do with analysis. Jump back. Here's the various analysis tools that are available. Plus you have most of the toolboxes. You can add new ones. Here's some of my favorite analysis tools, but as you can see, it contains a lot of the same tools available in ArcMap. Creating symbology is kind of easier now. So for instance, if I wanted to create a thematic map here, I could right-click, go to symbology. A symbology panel appears. I can select what I'd like to do, and it's graphically showing me just in case I'm new to this. So if I wanted graduated colors, I could click on that. I would select my field. Maybe if I wanted to normalize it against total population. Fairly easy. One of the things that's a little bit different is the way that the class ranges are shown. However, I could click in here and type in my own as well. When creating a map, this is what a layout looks like. And as you can see here, all my map elements are listed on the side. So my north arrow, some disclaimer text, a logo, source text. They have little padlocks next to them. And so they are locked into place until I unlock that. And then I can click on the element. Oops, it's still drawing. 131 is a little slow, 2 is a little bit quicker. Question? Yes.
So the ArcMap now, you have it creates an MXD file for you.
It creates a project file. So, and I can show you maybe when I'm done with this, I'll just start a brand new one. It creates a project file that is a directory that automatically populates the directory with a geodatabase. So it created just a project-based geodatabase, an empty toolbox, some index files, and things of that nature. Oh, sorry, a little slow here. But anyway, just to show you that basically here, these are, I can turn things on and off and unlock them as well. So let me move on to one of the other frames here. So one of the things it has that we've talked about is 3D as well. Now at Hennepin County we don't really have too much 3D data, but it's becoming more available and more projects are utilizing it. But just to let you know that ArcGIS Pro has these capabilities as well, and it's fairly easy to pull them in. And it's still drawing. Okay, any other questions? All right, well, let me go out and I'll kind of show you I'm starting a new project then. So basically at this point I can access some of my original projects or start with a blank one. If I click on a blank template here, it's going to create a project directory called My Project 4. I'll keep it as that. And then automatically set this up. So as you can see, I don't have any maps or toolboxes. I just have one geodatabase. I haven't made any connections. I would want to make a connection to maybe some other geodatabases. I might want to add a new map. And then from there, pull in GIS layers. When I had those layers in the map, I would go to Insert and do a new layout. Gives me a blank page. I would include my map that I'm working on, and I'd start to add cartographic elements. So, yes.
It's like, okay, you got two panels there on each side of the map.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you can close them, or can you move them around?
Yep, they're totally dockable. And let's say, for example, I mistakenly close the contents. Well, you just need to go to View and click on it, and it'll appear again. And a lot of the other panes that come up are based on what you're doing. So, for example, if I wanted to add some data and then look at a table pane or something of that nature, I could as well. Mm-hmm.
So Jay, with this, you're losing our catalog as well. What is kind of the comparison in Pro for just being able to look at all the data, let's say in a warehouse?
Well, what it is you set up a connection, and let me see if I've basically what it is it's sort of like, how many of you have used the ARC catalog that's embedded into ArcMap? Basically, that's what it is.
Well, that's okay, another question. So if you I have a standalone license for ArcMap.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same thing available for?
Yes, it is. Right now, at least in 2.0, the newest version, it does require that you log in, but you can actually have a standalone ArcGIS Pro license, and it asks how many days you want to check it out. I haven't done a lot of investigating into that, but it is possible. So if you're in the field, you want to use the software, you maybe don't have a connection to the internet, yes, you can. And getting back to the question, so if I wanted to create a connection, so here's to the Hennepin GIS warehouse. I would just click OK. It may take a little while. And again, version 1.3.1 is a little bit slow, and things are much quicker in 2.0. But I would do that, and then it would be available in my project pane as well. Some other questions?
Just so you know, it's not this slow, it's just that the Wi-Fi here
is kind of slow. Okay. All right, well, that's it for today, unless Jesse or Warren have anything to add to it. Thanks for attending, for those of you that are watching remotely.
Share the PowerPoint.
Oh, yes, sure, I'll go back. Let me just, yeah, of course this isn't gonna. There we go. And again, thanks for attending.
We'll stick around if anybody has any questions.
So, waiting this for the last one, 26. Next Monday, next to get into that, or?
It's, you could, yeah, there's right now, there's, there might be another. So, but.
So if I'm in Pro, just download an NVDA like a SD, and have other people are using that SD, let's just say your desktop, is it basically going to example, or is it going to block out? Actually, we always go point goal lines on
We had to live out there and get some more.
Yeah.
Because version was supported. So if you check out version.
My brother was